How much money did Superman lost? We knew that Superman made around 500 and something up to
Yeah.
600
I
million
think
dollars.
I think the last one was 615.
All
Yes,
right.
the last one.
Okay.
And just for our anime fans there, the animated, full-length anime movie of Demon Slayer, who I have never watched, uh, it's not my thing. But that animated movie beat Superman with 616 million.
Our
Let that sink in.
Superman made around 615 million. This is not comparable to Man of Steel,
No,
who made 600 and well, almost 700
almost
million
700
basically.
million. Yeah.
It's not comparable at all because back then, when you're just for inflation, tickets sold in numbers for Men of Steel are double. So 2 times as many people went to the theater. 2 times more people went to the theater in comparison to the numbers of people that actually saw Superman 2025. So that's the sad part. Of course, we did expect that. We have been covering the movie since the costume was
Since the
revealed.
costume, yeah.
Just it was on my the 40K channel. It was on my main channel because we didn't have this channel. We didn't have the gaming channel. So we covered this. We called it basically. We said if a director is willing, and we have to touch upon this when we talk about James Gunn. If
Yeah.
a director is willing to put Superman in such a thick, horrible, absolutely no muscle definition blob of a costume, you gotta know that he does not respect Superman. You gotta know that he doesn't understand the essence of Superman. He doesn't respect his strength, his masculinity, what makes Superman super. That was obvious by this choice alone. And then he proved it when we actually saw the movie. We saw that he was a whiny little bitch, excuse my language. He was behaving like an immature brat.
He was
He's
naive
not
as hell.
it's as if he's not 30 years old. He is like 15,
Yeah.
like Superboy, but really a boy. So the whole movie was a disgrace, unfortunately. There were some good moments that we appreciated, like the fact that he's really good and compassionate. But James Gunn doesn't know that being good and compassionate does not mean that you are naive
Yeah.
and you will allow somebody to mess with you like the rest of the Justice Gang, and you will think that there's good in Lex Luthor, where he killed a man in front of your eyes, an innocent man. You even cried about it because everybody cries in that movie. So James Gunn only understands and can portray goodness by emotionally immature characters that cry and bitch, just like Lex Luthor as well.
Exactly.
The rest of the cast were not even developed. They were barely there, just as props on the screen, like Perry White, who was black. Are
Again.
you kidding me?
Again.
Are you kidding me, James Gunn? So, whatever you pick in this movie, even how Lois dresses, and she dressed horribly. I mean, that actress, I totally forgot her name. Once again.
Uh, Rachel Brosnahan
Thank you.
was that? Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
not looking bad. Actually, in real life, I saw her in some red carpet appearing. She has big, natural looking boobs. I mean, they do look natural. She's a kind of like a feminine woman, but they didn't show that.
Yeah,
They
not
dressed
not
her
her,
horribly.
but then the other one, the Cat Grant, they
Ah,
dressed in
yeah.
a sexier way for no reason.
Yeah, and she had like two lines, and we were
Yeah,
supposed to care when they got onto that Mr. Terrific ship that kind of looked like something out of Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
Anyway, the stamp of James Gunn was all over this movie. Even the scene with freaking Mr. Terrific and the orbs was something out of
Guardians of the
Guardians of
Galaxy
the
2, there
Galaxy.
is a scene with Yandu there when they escape
Exactly.
the prison. Also, let's not forget his horrible take on the fact that Superman's parents want him to take over the Earth and things like that, and he
Yes.
has to be better than what they want him to, which is again a retread of something that happened in the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Star-Lord and his father, who turned out to be a douchebag and want him to take over the world. And it's the same kind of thing, nurture versus nature. We saw that many times, not to mention they did it on Smallville and in Invincible. But it works there. It doesn't work with Superman. his characters, James Gunn's characters, are always some emotionally immature guys, much like Star Wars, by the way, who is not like that in the comic books, but oh boy, yeah, James Gunn. Oh, is that the trailer?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Clayton. I'm gonna put it like on the side. We're gonna open it later.
Yeah, Mahendra. Okay, we addressed that trailer, but that's in the movie. In the comic books, that's not his dad. Just wanted to say because I'm a comic book nerd and can't stand
You're supposed to be.
unpunctuality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
that was a bit of an intro on what we wanted to talk about, but let's dig in. So basically, we wanted to just say, of course, this movie is going to fail. It's
Yeah.
not Superman. It pooped on the lore even of his
The
parents.
lore,
It
yeah.
pooped on the characters. It crapped on his costume. Everything. It screams not Superman. Even the shots that were so uncomplimentary of David Cornswell, how he looked like
Yeah.
this shot here, he's not as handsome as Henry Cavill, but they can definitely make him look as similar as possible. At least, I mean, more Superman. But they didn't do that.
Yeah.
He only looks really handsome in like 2 shots of the whole movie.
In the end of the movie.
Yeah.
When he kind of feels like Superman in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Only for this to be again pooped on in the second end credit scene when they made him a kind of an idiot.
Yes.
Again.
The last scene with Lois when they met and they kissed and how they talked and he said Miss Lane, and that was the only Superman thing like the whole time.
Totally.
It didn't make any sense how he was beaten with all the moves that Lex Luthor screamed in the screen.
B16.
How can he scream moves and the Superman's double to basically execute them before Superman can do anything? He can
Exactly.
perceive things so much faster, and the reactions of Lex Luthor are the reactions of Lex Luthor.
He can hear that.
He can actually hear
all
it.
those things.
Yeah, he
can
can
actually
hear it because the thing that it's in the ears of the stupid Ultraman, he can hear that,
he
but
can hear it like
they
that.
never address that.
Yeah.
So this whole fight with Ultraman is bullshit. It's
Also,
bull crap.
you know what other thing occurred to me?
Yeah,
You
what?
know, and maybe there is no explanation in the movie. I'm sure that people will have theories, but if it's not explained in the movie, that means that James Gunn didn't thought
think
of
about
that.
it.
So, why on earth Superman does not know who is behind the mask of Ultraman? He has X-ray vision. Why on earth he doesn't use it to see who is that guy? Oh, he looks like me.
Yeah, no.
Why?
He didn't use it to
People will say maybe because Lex researched Superman and he put a
let on it.
letter line. But
where?
but we don't know that.
Yeah,
Nobody
where?
says that. Lex
Yeah.
doesn't say, and there is a letter on his suit. Yeah.
No,
So,
that's not explained.
yeah.
Okay, let's continue. So let's read the article, guys, and then we're going to go back to the comments. So Forbes claims James Gunn's Superman lost money in theatrical run. Report alleges DCU premiere 42 million short of profitability. After months of speculation about the financial outcome of James Gunn's Superman, a new report from Forbes has made the situation plain. The film reportedly did not recoup costs during its theatrical run, while writer Tim Lammers stops short of using the word flop. His own math makes it clear that Superman lost money in theaters, and Warner Bros. Is now depending on digital and streaming sales to fill the gap. The numbers don't lie. According to Forbes, Superman closed its domestic run on October 2nd, 2025, after 84 days in theaters. The film earned $354.2 million domestically and another $261.1 million internationally, for a worldwide total of $615.8 million. Sounds impressive until you factor in the cost. Forbes cites a $225 million production budget and a $125 million worldwide marketing budget, figures first reported by Variety. That puts Warner Bros. Total investment at roughly $350 million before residuals, interest, or studio overhead. Lammers notes that studios typically split box office receipts 50-50 with theaters, meaning that of Superman's $650.8 million worldwide gross, Warner Bros. Would retain about 308 million. That's a shortfall of 42 million against total cost, and that's before any residual payments or additional expenses are included. In plain terms, Forbes has confirmed what many analysts already suspected. Superman lost money at the box office. But what about tax credits? Some might argue that Superman's production budget of 225 million doesn't tell the full story, since large-scale films often benefit from tax incentives that reduce net costs. In this case, Warner Bros. Filmed significant portions of Superman in Cleveland, Ohio, and Toronto, Canada, both regions known for aggressive film rebate programs. Ohio offers up to 30% in qualifying credits, while Ontario's provincial incentive adds another 20-25% on eligible expenditures. Not every dollar of the production qualifies, but industry analysts estimate these combined incentives likely shaved 10 to 15 of the total budget. That would reduce the film's effective production cost somewhere in the 190s to 100 million range after rebates. A meaningful saving, but not enough to change the outcome. When paired with Variety's reported 125 million global marketing spend, Superman still cost Warner Bros. Roughly 325 million in total.
Oh boy.
Even using those lower numbers, the Forbes calculation still shows the studio taking in about 308 million from its share of ticket sales, leaving Superman at least 10 to 20 million short of breaking even in theaters before accounting for residuals or interest. In other words, even after tax breaks, Superman remained in the red from its theatrical run. A polite disclaimer, but the damage is done. Lammers acknowledges the obvious in the Forbes report, writing, even going with 308 million before taking the other expenses into account, Superman's net falls below the 350 million Warner Bros. Spent on the production of the film and marketing. But then comes the corporate hedging. Whether Superman will ultimately end up making or losing money, though, is yet to be determined, since Warner Bros. Will earn money from premium video on demand, streaming video on demand, and other revenue streams. Technically that's true. Studios often recoup additional funds through post-theatrical windows like home video, PVOD, and licensing. But for a tentpole film designed to launch a new cinematic universe, needing home sales to break even is an unmistakable sign of underperformance. In modern Hollywood economics, theatrical profit isn't optional. It's the foundation that justifies everything else. When a film of this size falls short in theaters, no amount of post-run trinkle revenue can change the optics. Contradicting Variety's profit claim. What makes the Forbes analysis even more striking is how directly it contradicts Variety's earlier reporting on the film's profitability. In August, Variety published an article celebrating Warner Bros.' historic box office streak, claiming that Superman had earned a theatrical profit of roughly 125 million, which would make it more profitable than Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, despite making less money overall. The narrative was widely repeated across the entertainment press and even credited in our own prior coverage here at That Park Place. But now the math from Forbes points a completely different picture. If Superman only brought back about 308 after exhibitor cuts, and the studio spent 350 million producing and marketing it, then Variety's projection was off by roughly 165 million. That's not a rounding error, that's a total reversal. The question now is how Variety could have been so far off in its analysis. Either the publication sources at Warner Bros. Provided incomplete data, or the initial reporting leaned heavily on internal optimism rather than post run accounting. A rough start for Gunn's DC universe. This was, this was supposed to be the dawn of a new era. The first film from DC Studios under co-chairs James Gunn and Peter Safran. Instead, it's a sobering financial reality check. Even though Forbes and Variety don't use the word flop, their figures speak for themselves. Theatrically sorry, there's a lot of
A lot of text.
yeah. Theatrically, Superman ran in the red and lost money, and while Warner Bros. Is moving full steam ahead on Supergirl and the other DC projects, the financial data makes clear that the reboot's debut chapter was anything but triumph that fans were promised. If this is how the DCU begins, it raises uncomfortable questions about how long Warner Bros. Can afford to chase Gunn's vision before investors start to demand a course correction. So that's very well written.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Really good math over here.
and again, the other thing to remember, guys, before we continue to your comments, is that, like I've said, what Man of Steel did was back when there was not, no inflation. Now the tickets are double the price. There was some shots on Twitter about that. So the tickets now cost double. That is where the theatrical run of Superman comes in. I mean, that is where we see that number of 615 million. But Man of Steel tickets costed 2 times less, and 2 times more people came to the theater, and that is a fact. So the interest in this type of a Superman, this interpretation of Superman, which is not Superman, people are not that dumb, because a lot of the older generation that actually have money to give, just have money to spend in the time, the attention span to go and see the movie these days, those people remember the Christopher Reeve movies. Those people read comic books. Some of those people were around, when the Superman animations were on. Because
especially the animated series from 1996.
if you're a kid in the 90s or the 2000s, you remember how Superman is supposed to be. We actually did a video about, for Superman right here. It's a video that is named What Makes Superman Superman. You can go and see it, in which we highlight the animation, the Superman animation.
Superman, the animated series.
Yes, and what makes Superman Superman there is presented in just absolutely a perfect way. He was amazingly presented with a lot of respect, intelligence, profound episodes. Nothing like that we see today.
And by the way, fun fact, the guys who made the animation, because they're the same guys who did in the Batman the animated series, are not even as much of Superman fans.
But they still did the better.
But they still did their job. They still did their job because they learned. They even said, actually, what we did with Superman the animated series is better. Because we learned from Batman the animated series what to do and how to do it, and we did it here better. And they're not even they said that they're not even such a big Superman fans, but they did their job correctly. Again, unlike James Gunn, who from the very first promo shot of that movie, we knew, and we said it many times, we knew that it's going to be dumb and disrespectful to Superman with that image there of him sitting sat in his apartment, putting his boot on.
Yes.
Which was actually turned out that it's his putting it off.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That is not how you show Superman the first time. There's no honor in this shot. There's no manliness.
Not for the first shot of a suit review and the very first shot of your movie. Just there is not honor with that. And then the trailer came and he tried to play on our nostalgia notes with that music that is kind of like the Christopher Reeve music, but modern, so that you get the fifties the
Fifis.
fifis,
Yes, we are immature little children.
but it didn't work. I mean,
I mean, nostalgia cannot win us back
no, no,
because
no.
there's nothing to be nostalgic about. I mean, what made a nostalgia before was quality
Mm,
and genuine entertainment, like real meaning.
yeah,
Nothing like that this
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing
Okay,
to do with
let's address the comments because we know that
Mm-hmm.
we started late. So we gotta hurry up here. Okay, so let's see from both channels. Okay, Joey on the gaming channel, superhero channel. I'm gonna go a bit back just before we started talking about this. Hi to Ceci7372. Superman is a good compare to Peacemaker. Talk about crap. It's Peacemaker. Of course, Peacemaker
Of
is
course,
crap.
of
But let
course.
me tell you this, and this is a piece of logic here.
Yeah.
Just because something is absolute shithole of a depravity and degeneracy doesn't mean that something else isn't bad. It means that both things can stand alone and how bad
At
they
being
are.
bad, yes.
Because this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. This is not degenerate in that way that Peacemaker is. Peacemaker goes to the worst things that I ever seen in any show or a movie. It crosses all the lines of decency, morality, integrity of the DC universe and characters. Crosses all of them.
Let's
So, but they're both very bad in their own ways because Superman, the Superman movie, craps on Superman in such a disgusting way because it makes him look weak, emasculates him, it makes him look naive,
naive, yeah.
shows that goodness can only be naive. There's so many messages the way that everything is done here that insults your intelligence. Everything
And insults who Superman is.
insults who Superman is to his core,
Yeah.
and so insults who Lex Luthor is to his core.
Yeah, even that, yeah.
Insults everybody. It didn't give enough time to develop even characters. There were just there's so many things that are wrong here. Illogical inconsistencies. I mean, plot holes galore. Not only that, but like we
Yeah.
said, even the fact that Superman is fighting Ultraman and he can't hear how Lex Luthor is shouting commands in his ear. What?
Yeah.
He
What?
can hear things kilometers away. That's not explained at all. How did Lex Luthor manage to say those things and the Ultraman reacted faster? I mean, he will react as fast as Lex Luthor gives commands. He cannot react faster than that because he is dependent on every word that Lex Luthor says. So none of this makes sense. The parents thing is a disgrace and disgusting act of changing the whole Superman lore and nature of Superman to say that his freaking parents are like someone from Immortals. They're like Viltrumites. They want to
Yeah.
go and F all the women on Earth, like get a harem son. It's great, populate the
I
Earth.
mean,
Take it off. What?
let's say it that way. If Peacemaker is like having the crappiest of the crappiest menu in the worst diner ever, then this Superman should be like McDonald's. But then again, why would I go eat in McDonald's where before that with Man of Steel I was eating in a 6-star restaurant?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would I do that? And the only reason why he pooped like that on this Superman, and not even worse, is because they didn't let him make it rated R,
Yeah, exactly.
for example.
Exactly.
Because he would love to do that, I'm sure. And then we would have seen a harem, and then we would have seen another orgy or whatever other stupid things just going to show. Because apparently he has issues, a lot of issues.
Apparently.
I don't know how his wife can put up with that, but still,
She's probably crazy,
But she's
just like
probably
him.
crazy just like him. So who knows about that? So the fact that something is worse than another thing does not make the first better. I mean, we don't have to really be okay with that just because this is worse.
Yeah, that
Shouldn't be like that.
that is just like one of my girlfriends try to try to excuse her boyfriend for being a complete jerk to her by saying, "Well, nobody's perfect." I'm like, "Listen, girl, nobody is perfect, but to have a guy that actually abuses you mentally and sometimes physically, it's so far away from perfect that it's not functional, it's not okay, it's not
Yeah.
humane. So you better start, thinking more about self-preservation and self-respect and having some dignity, because you're not gonna have a good relationship like that. So the fact that nobody is perfect doesn't mean that you have to eat shit.
And settle up with
Yeah,
that,
whatever
just
shit. I apologize.
you
I
know.
really don't talk like that. I really don't.
No, when it's shit.
But
So
this time James Gunn crossed all the lines, and I really hate to say it, but I don't like to be correct about things that are bad, but that's always what happens.
yeah, and I really, I heard and read in several reviews and heard some people to say that, well, that movie kind of reminds me Superman the animated series.
What?
How exactly? Because he behaves like in a cartoon. If anything, it's more like the Super Friends TV show from Hanna-Barbera from the 60s, or was it the 70s?
When they thought
If
the superheroes are only goofy.
are only idiots, yes. If anything is that, but even that Superman there was not that naive. And when people say, no, it's lighthearted like Christopher Reeve's movie, Christopher Reeve's,
It's not
his
lighthearted at all.
Superman did not behave like a naive idiot. He did not say things like, I'm not messing around, I'm doing important stuff. Or he's watching the building there and says, sometimes I can be such an idiot or such a jerk or whatever
For
it
no
was there. For
reason.
no reason. Or, sure, voice, I'll give you an interview.
With that voice.
With that voice,
that
exactly.
tone.
With that voice. When did Christopher Reeve Superman behave like that? Never. It was always man. Even the guy in the freaking Superboy TV show from the end of the 80s, the 90s, and it was Superboy, even he did not behave like a boy. He actually behaved like a man. He was 30. But
He was a man.
he was a man, basically. But even he behaved like Superman. Even in that show. If you haven't seen it, guys, watch it. It's great 90s cheese, by the way. So
Funny how
amazing.
that happens. Okay, we're really on a freaking rant here,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
gotta get to the comments, and it's almost 11 o'clock.
At 10 rate, the movie didn't make money.
Yes, and we knew that.
Yes, and it's not because Snyder fans boycotted it or things like that. No, it just didn't. People are not dumb. People don't like eating crap anymore, and that's just period.
For the imperium must not fail. Imperium we prevail. The warriors march with sacred might. Their purpose burning crystal bright. To lift the throne world from its plight and guard humanity's light.